Max Verstappen gives his take on the best driver debate, and NASCAR President Steve Phelps defends NASCAR's decision to penalize Austin Dillon. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Gotta keep things quick because in a few hours I need to be on a plane heading to Daytona Beach, Florida. Gonna be a fun weekend. If you're gonna be at the track tomorrow, Friday, stop by the NASCAR Experience stage just outside the grandstands at 4:30. I will be there doing a live show with NASCAR driver Brennan Poole. We should have a guest joining us as well. Hope to see y'all out there. Again, 4:30, NASCAR Experience stage. Hope to see you there. Whoa, hold on just a second. We've got some huge breaking news coming in here real time. I sat down to record a completely different video. Maybe I should re-record the intro, but now we have news that Denny Hamlin has been hit with an L2 penalty. Wow. Okay, hold on. Let's get the details out here. This is real time. We're doing this. From NASCAR's website, the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Team and driver Denny Hamlin were issued an L2 level penalty for failing to meet NASCAR's engine seal requirements. Oh, okay. This section of the rulebook states all race-winning engines, quote, will be long block sealed by NASCAR and must be completely inspected by NASCAR before the engine may be disassembled by the team. If the team chooses to use the long block sealed race-winning engine again before being inspected, the engine must be used in the same vehicle number the next time it is used. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, and NASCAR even released a statement. Each race-winning engine must be inspected by NASCAR once the team determines that its life cycle is complete. In this instance, prior to presenting the engine to NASCAR for inspection, Toyota Racing Development disassembled and rebuilt the number 11's Bristol winning race engine. Per the NASCAR rulebook, this violation results in an L2 penalty to the race team and driver. Toyota Racing Development self-reported this violation. Wow, a self-report, my goodness. Hey, honestly, respect. Hey, that's good sportsmanship right there. The honor system works, I suppose, from time to time. Okay, sorry, I'm beating around the bush. The penalty, L2 level penalty, this is huge. Denny Hamlin has been docked 75 driver owner points and 10 playoff points, and his crew chief Chris Gabehart was fined $100,000. A 10 playoff point deduction, this is huge. Let's do some math here. So, before this penalty, Denny Hamlin was third in the regular season standings, I believe, 28 points out of the lead. Odds of him winning the regular season championship with only 2 races to go, fairly low. Not impossible, but fairly low. But he had a good, probably top 4 finishing position, all but locked up. And remember, after Darlington next week, the top regular season points finishers get additional playoff points. So this 75-point penalty is going to knock Denny Hamlin from 3rd to 7th, I believe. And it basically mathematically eliminates him from the regular season title. So he's going to lose several playoff points there in addition to the 10 playoff points he was just docked. Wow, unbelievable. And it just sounds like an oversight at TRD. Because they self-reported, this release from NASCAR says they granted the team the lowest possible L2 penalty. But man, the lowest L2 penalty is still pretty damn harsh. Denny Hamlin has championship aspirations, and this is going to make the 11 team's path to Phoenix a lot harder. He's still going to have at least 15, 16 playoff points at least when the playoffs begin. That's something, but his path won't be nearly as easy as we all thought it was going to be. And one final thought, what the hell is going on at Toyota right now? Their engine department is in shambles. Did important people retire or something? If they're not blowing engines, they're not following the rules. Just a basic operational error, it sounds like, resulted in this report and this penalty. That's embarrassing. Toyota has to be humiliated right now. In fact, I found a statement. Gluck just tweeted this out from TRD's David Wilson. Quote, as the engine builder for our partner NASCAR Cup Series teams, TRD is solely responsible for the handling and disposition of all our engines pre- and post-race. Despite procedures being in place, Denny's race-winning engine from Bristol was mistakenly returned to our Costa Mesa facility, disassembled and rebuilt instead of being torn down and inspected by NASCAR per the rulebook. Although we know with absolute certainty that the engine was legal and would have passed inspection, we left NASCAR in an impossible position because they were not given the opportunity to properly inspect our engine. We've reviewed our processes and have implemented several additional steps to ensure that this never happens again. TRD takes full responsibility for this grievous mistake, and we apologize to Denny, Chris, Coach Gibbs, and the entire JGR organization, NASCAR, and our fans. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Shoot, and I mentioned retirement. David Wilson is retiring in the next couple of months. Not exactly the parting gift he was hoping for. Jeez Louise, yeah, that's a bad mistake. Toyota racing development's got to get their stuff together. The playoffs are right around the corner. These mistakes are actively hurting their drivers' chances at contending for a championship. That's bad. That's real bad. Anyway, that's my initial reaction to this. I'm sure folks will ask Denny questions about this at the track this week, and if I get the chance, I'll be in there. But now, I guess I had other things I wanted to talk about today. Let's get to them. Richard Childress Racing's final appeal of the Austin Dillon penalty will be heard this Monday by Langley Speedway owner Bill Mullis. RCR lost their initial appeal yesterday. I don't see the final appeal going much differently, but hey, I don't blame Richard Childress Racing for escalating things. If they are somehow, some way able to get Austin Dillon's playoff eligibility restored, that is a multi-million-dollar difference at season's end. Pull every lever you can. Give it your best shot. We'll see what happens Monday. NASCAR President Steve Phelps was on Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour podcast this week. They covered a broad range of topics, including NASCAR's initial decision to allow Austin Dillon to keep the Richmond win, but removed the playoff eligibility that comes with it. Steve Phelps defended NASCAR's competition department's initial ruling, saying this, quote, "If we hadn't penalized Dillon, then I think what we would see over the next 12 weeks would look significantly different. We just can't have it. It really comes down to, what do you want your sport to be? That's why we ruled the way we did. We're not a demolition derby. We're a sport that, if we had done nothing, we would have opened ourselves up for a mess, honestly." Harvick asked a great question. Could we see these kinds of rough driving penalties decided at the racetrack? Phelps said this, quote, "I think it's something we can do in the future. Essentially, you would have options. It's a 1-lap penalty, it's a 15-second penalty, whatever it is. I think that's something we will explore." Phelps then adds that NASCAR typically does not like to rework the rulebook mid-season unless they feel it's absolutely necessary. But going back to the actual quote, I'm happy to hear Steve Phelps say that, because that's what I would like to see going forward. If you're going to call someone for rough driving, it should be blatant and obvious. It should be clear to the eye and immediately clear when looking at the data what just happened. Not just, oh, this driver drove in a little deep or slipped up or whatever. No. It should be obvious that a driver made an unorthodox move with the sole intent of knocking or wrecking someone out of the way for a win or an important position. It should be obvious enough that Elton Sawyer or whoever makes the final decision can make the call in the moment, within minutes of the incident occurring. I don't like waiting 2+ weeks through the entire appeal process to finally come to a conclusion. Some things in the sport should be open to collaboration, but not this. It's the sanctioning body's job to call the race, to keep the drivers in check when the format and cars don't. NASCAR is solely responsible for enforcing rules that preserve healthy competition. I hope that in 2025, as Steve Phelps suggests, we can expedite this process so we don't drag these debates out for weeks. I hope NASCAR has the authority next season to make these kinds of calls in the moment. I think that's better for the sport overall. But moving on, my friend from Lionel Racing will be jumping on here in a moment to show us something pretty cool they've been working on. But before we get to that, the best driver in the world debate rages on. Kyle Larson, after winning his 3rd Knoxville Nationals recently, was asked by Flow Racing if he feels he needs to beat Max Verstappen head-to-head to be considered the best driver in the world. And Kyle Larson gave this response. Not really. I know in my mind I am better than him as an all-around driver. There's no way Max can get into a sprint car and win the Knoxville Nationals. There's no way he can win the Chili Bowl. There's no way he can go win a cup race at Bristol. There's probably no way I can go win a Formula 1 race at Monaco, but I think I have a better shot at him doing what he does than him doing what I do, just because of the car element. That's what gives me ease and confidence that, I know I'm better than him. Maybe not in an open wheel Indy car or Formula 1 car, but that's one discipline. I think I would beat him in everything else. You can quote that. I still love that answer. I feel like a lot of European fans would look at Kyle Larson, his dirt racing background, and say, oh, he's a scrappy underdog. Look at him. What he does is cute. But Larson giving that kind of response is like, nah, I'm here. I'm better than him. I'm confident. And again, this is Larson punching up. Max Verstappen is Goliath. He's the one who's dominating in the most popular motorsport series in the world. Millions of dollars in earnings, endorsements, international prestige. he is at the top of the food chain. It's good for Kyle Larson's brand, in my opinion, to have his name come up alongside Max Verstappen's. So I still love Larson's initial comment, the confidence, lean into it. But to my surprise, Max Verstappen has been asked directly about Kyle Larson at least twice in the last week. Max was first asked by Ash Vandelay, and he said, quote, "I should first say we should not have this debate because everyone is good in their own right. I would not be good on dirt. Maybe if I would practice, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, a good racing driver picks up things quite quickly. It all depends what you grew up on as well. For me, it was go-karting and F1. These things are more natural to me than racing on dirt."
That's why this debate of, this guy is better than the other one, you don't know, everyone is good in their own right.
Then Max Verstappen was asked by The Athletic's Luke Smith, who posted this today, quote, "Asked Max Verstappen for his response to Larson's comments about being a better all-around driver. Max just smiled and said, 'That's fine. Everyone thinks their own way, right?' It makes me smile that a 3-time defending Formula One world champion is being forced to answer questions about Kyle Larson winning a dirt race in Knoxville, Iowa. I like this, honestly. Again, Max is at the tippy top. Larson is challenging the best. And again, to be clear, it's not like Kyle Larson just burst into the room and said, "Yeah, I'm the best." He was asked a direct question about Max Verstappen, and he gave a very direct answer. But because he's Kyle Larson and he's talking about Max Verstappen, it's being blown up. It's probably not the best week to be having this debate when Kyle Larson just spun out by himself at Michigan, took out a few fast cars with him. And we are going to Daytona this weekend, and Larson does not have a great track record there. But the reason this conversation is still good for NASCAR broadly speaking is it highlights Kyle Larson's versatility. And like I said last week, that's one of NASCAR's greatest strengths. Its stars come from dirt sprint cars, dirt late models, asphalt, short track racing, road course racing. Shoot, some guys come from off-road. Drivers from all sorts of different backgrounds come to NASCAR to try their hand at stock car racing, and many different drivers from different backgrounds have success here. What Max said about the best drivers being able to pick things up quickly, I think a lot of NASCAR drivers fit into that category. Kyle Larson perhaps more so than anyone else. Obviously his sprint car, now his late model success, anything on dirt. He's a NASCAR champion, Rolex 24 winner. He's an Indy 500 Rookie of the Year winner. This debate highlights how versatile many NASCAR drivers are. It highlights the diverse backgrounds of the many different drivers in this sport. I think that's a good thing. Look, I would love to see Kyle Larson and Max Verstappen battle it out head to head. Do a Lewis Hamilton, Tony Stewart style ride swap, make laps in each other's car. Let's see who's setting the best times. Share your ideas down in the comments. What would be the best way to settle this debate one-on-one? Because right now it's all hypothetical. Sure, Kyle Larson's body of work would suggest he is perhaps the best all-around race car driver. But Max Verstappen has been in the F1 pipeline for so many years, I think he hasn't had the flexibility to necessarily go try many other things. If he had the chance, who knows? I'm sure he would stack up pretty well. But again, it's hypothetical, an interesting debate that continues to rage on. But now, before we go, the folks at Lionel had something pretty cool they wanted to share with us today. I'm now joined by Carlene from Lionel Racing, here to talk a little Christmas in August, I suppose. But the 12 days of diecast are back. I've already got my 2024 advent calendar. Carlene, this is super exciting. I remember last year's. I still have some of my favorite diecasts from last year's calendar. Christopher Bell race win. Of course, I gotta have my Chris Buescher, Matt Kenseth inspired throwback here. So last year seemed like a huge success. What's the theme of this year's advent calendar?
Yeah, so this year is going to be the Candy Cane 500, where last year we did the snowball theme. So we wanted to switch it up every year, make the packaging a little bit different. The tracks are different this year. So that way the packaging itself is also like a collectible item, something that people want to pick up every year. This year, the track kind of references like Pocono. We're hoping to do like road courses in the future, make it look different every single year.
Cool, yeah, let's see. If I opened it up, I think I'd seen, oh yeah, That is sort of a short
Little
track.
tricky.
Interesting. I like it. Yeah, definitely different than last year's. I'm not going to open up the actual car compartments until December. I got to honor the advent calendar here, but for fans who may be looking to pick this up, I know on the box at least it says there are 11 never before produced 164 scale cars. Can you give us, other than the ones on the box, I assume, can you give us a little teaser as to what maybe fans can expect?
So I can tell you that obviously you're gonna have Cup, Xfinity, and truck in there. More than just what you see on the box. There are 2 trucks, I want to say, 3 Xfinity cars. So you've got a good mix of
I like
different
it.
teams. Some you're not gonna expect, some that are gonna seem like they come out of left field. And one thing that I know a lot of people have been wondering, there is one never before produced win car in there.
Oh,
So you're gonna have one that's got your winner's circle confetti on it. It was a big win. So I know that people are kind of anticipating it, and we never, fully said, but you do have a win in there, and there is a special finish car. So the
oh,
chase
hey.
piece that you get in the Authentics, there's one in there as well.
Awesome. Hey, that's a very diverse collection. Very exciting stuff. Carlene, I appreciate you joining us this morning. Where can fans find the 2024 Advent Calendar, and when does it become available?
Yes, so you're going to be able to find it this year more than you were just with us last year. A lot of our wholesalers have it this year, mainly online right now. It is still pre-order. A lot of the teams who are in the calendar, you can find it on their websites as well. And it will be arriving, as of right now, it's always estimated, but early September. So
Oh, wow.
for those of us like me who like to start celebrating Christmas almost as soon as leaves start hitting the ground, you can do so with the calendar this year, which I'm so excited to see it come in and see year 2, how pumped people have been on social media when it got announced. But still, to every single time we post about it, people are just off the rails excited. So it's been beyond what we could imagine, the reaction, and I cannot wait for people to start opening it this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, it's very fun. It's a fun project, and excited to see them showing up sooner rather than later. I could do for some December weather this summer. It is hot out there, so any taste of Christmas is welcome early in the fall here. Carlene, thank you so much for being on the show, and shout out to Lionel. You can get your 12 days of diecast early. Click the link down in the description below. Thanks, Carlene.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you all for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR content day in, day out, all year long. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Again, I'll be at the track Friday at 4:30. Hope to see you at the NASCAR Experience stage. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you at the track. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks.